Hello, and thank you for watching my presentation today. This is for U.S. Crisis and Expansion at UCI for Professor Hele Marcelo. I'm going to be doing my primary source exercise 2 on Sarah Grimke Calls for Women's Rights, 1830. So here are some key concepts that are actually noted through this primary source literature. The first one's enlightenment, which entails human reason should guide society and politics, rejecting monarch and aristocracy in favor of self-government, consent of the governed, liberty, equality under the law, republicanism, religious tolerance, and belief in unalienable rights such as life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, separation of church and state. And then we have Republican motherhood. Women had a crucial role in the new republic by raising virtuous, civic-minded children who would become good citizens. This emerged after the American Revolution. It is linked to the importance of women's domestic sphere by linking it directly to survival of the republic. Also, the Lowell Mill Strikes. The Lowell Mill Strikes were some of the first major labor protests in the United States, led by young women textile workers against wage cuts, long hours, and poor conditions. Not always successful. They striked an important step in both the American labor movement and women's activism. Young women challenged gender roles, publicly demanding better conditions. This highlighted tensions between industrial capitalism, workers' rights, inspiring future activism and reforms. And lastly, American Anti-Slavery Society. The AASS provided organizational structure and momentum to the abolitionist movement, highlighting individuals like the Grimke sisters and Frederick Douglass. By insisting on immediate emancipation, the society reshaped public debate, moving conversation away from gradual, moving the conversation away from gradual freedom and colonization. This modeled new forms of organizing, mass petitions, lectures, and wide print distribution. Diversions over women's, this also brought to attention diversions over women's rights, political engagement, and revealed the broader struggles within American reform. So here's a picture of Sarah Moore Grimke, American abolitionist, women's and civil rights activist. Here is a powerful quote that I wanted to highlight regarding the primary source that I used, which was something that was written by her. All history attests that man has subjected women to his will, used her as means to promote his selfish gratification, to minister to his sensual pleasures, to be instrumental in promoting his comfort, but never has he desired to elevate her to the rank she has created to fill. We'll go forward, and that would be noted in what she wrote as well. So here's a little bit of background. Regarding the Grimke sisters, Sarah was one of two sisters. She was the older sister of Angelina Grimke. They were daughters of a wealthy slaveholding family in Charleston, South California. They rejected slavery and moved north, becoming outspoken abolitionists and advocates for women's rights. They were the first Southern women to publicly speak against slavery, writing influential pieces, giving lectures that linked moral evil of slavery to broader issues of human rights. By connecting abolitionism with women's rights movement, the Grimke sisters helped expand the reform agenda of the 19th century and inspire later generations of activists. And here's a picture of the Grimke sisters. On the left, you have Angelina Grimke, and on the right is Sarah Grimke. Okay, so here's actually the primary source that I have used from this week's primary sources. And I have highlighted a passage and a quote as well. That I feel focuses on women's rights and equality. Women has been placed by John Quincy Adams side by side with the slave whilst he was contending for the right side of petition. I thank him for ranking us with the oppressed, for I shall not find it difficult to show that in all ages and countries, not even expecting enlightened Republican America, woman has more or less been made a means to promote the welfare of man without due regard to her own happiness and the glory of God as the end of her creation. So Sarah says a lot here. John Quincy Adams was actually advocating against the gag rule, which prevented petitions to be brought forth regarding slavery, specifically for women as well. They were deemed as not valid when they came from women as well. this also highlights how through the acknowledgement and awareness of slavery and what the individuals who were slaves had to deal with after the fact as well, they realized that women did not have had the same rights almost similarly to people who were slaves or colored Americans, which meant they couldn't vote, and they did not have the ability to hold the same status or position as white men in general. And she highlights the fact that America was based on Enlightenment teachings, which basically meant life, liberty, and justice for everyone, which is not the case for women or slaves. And then also, Sarah is Christian, as many Christians were. And later on, we'll note that it is noted in the literature as well that she had a Quaker influence, which was more progressive. With that said, though, it is noted that women are supposed to be like the other half of men, but men tend to only focus on their happiness, and we'll go a little bit more into that in the next slides. Injustices of women. Here's another section of the literature and another quote that I highlighted. I believe it will be found that men in the exercise of their usurped dominion over women have almost invariably done one of two things. They have either made slaves of the creatures whom God designed to be their companions and their coadjutors in every moral and intellectual improvement, or they have dressed them like dolls and used them as toys to amuse their hours of recreation. So kind of highlighted this a little bit. So through biblical scripture, it is noted that God designed man and woman to be companions. But it is noted that in American society, that most women would be at home. This has to do also with the concept that I focused on, the Republican motherhood, which noted that women were supposed to be at-home wives and take care of children and teach them how to be good civilians. Nothing wrong in that, but also it also highlights how men were able to go out, learn, work, and connect with others, leading to their growth as well. And then that also will be highlighted in the future slides as well. But yeah, it also highlights how they are basically men's servants here in this quote. It's only two different things, and men actually have the control over deciding what women do in their lives because of the patriarchal way of American society, leading to the dominion of women. Here's another quote that I wanted to highlight regarding civil rights and equality for all. I maintain that men and women, are equal, and that God never invested a fallen man with unlimited power over his fellow man, and I rejoice that circumstances have prevented women from being more deeply involved in the guilt which appears to be inseparable from political affairs. If women had not almost universally been depressed and degraded, the page of history would have exhibited as many eminent statesmen and politicians among women as men. We are much in the situation of the slave. Man has asserted and assumed authority over us. So again, this highlights how women acknowledge that they're on a similar boat as slaves, and also that they feel like they are also part of the problem, but it's not completely their fault because men prevented them from being in positions of like political power or legislation, which if they had been, they might have had more sympathy or more abilities to help people enslaved or enslaved people. But since men decided to not give them these rights or prevented them, they did not have political power, which led them to be depressed and degraded as well. And thank you for watching.